how much do you think the driving range model, the business model, has changed since the first driving range opened in Pinehurst in 1913? What's interesting is if you just go to the range just to like hit balls with no real plan in place, what ends up happening is you hit shots until that club feels good and then you move on. But measuring success around feel can get like it's not objective, right? If I feel like I wrote a good paper, but I never looked at the requirements of having to write 1,200 words and I only wrote 600, but it felt good, well, I'm still probably not going to get a great grade. I think that's how a lot of people practice. And yeah,
No, I completely agree. I had a Whoop for the longest time, and it's the same
oh, it's on my box.
mentality on you have it's awesome. It's the same mentality. When you first get it, you wake up like, "Oh, I feel good." We
Yeah,
use that word feel. Feel is not objective. You look at the numbers, the metrics, the actual hard data. This is how I slept, poorly or not poorly, and it gives a, quantification of what that feel is. When we are practicing and we are hitting the 7 irons, we're hitting drives till it goes straight. We're hitting 7 irons till it feels like we're hitting it solid. A lot of times we're probably hitting it off mats. Well, it's really good to hit a good shot on them, or it's really easy to hit a good shot on a mat to feel good. There's nothing that's going to objectively say that that is going to help you play better at golf, and score better, be better. And so
yeah.
that's what Isaac and I are harping on, is what we just keep saying, like, let's figure out ways that we can eliminate the feel word from our vocabulary when it comes to practicing golf.
Yeah. I mean, you put a good note in our pre-production notes about falling into the slump of practicing to say that you practiced. Can you talk about what those sessions actually looked like?
Yeah, it's very similar to what we described. For me, I played college golf Division 1. I play professional golf now. There's definitely a pressure every single day, or most of the time, every day, every other day, to practice. And the bad habits or the bad routines that I would fall in is just go to the golf course and practice just to get swings in. Practice to say that I practiced today. So I'm not practicing with a purpose. I'd get the bag of balls, bucket of balls. I'd hit shots. I'd kind of go on autopilot, for lack of a better term, of just certain things. And then I'd leave the golf course thinking that, hey, doing that it's got to be better than doing nothing. Well, when you're at a certain level, your when your body has practiced golf enough, your body has done the same movement pattern for long enough, it's really not going to change all that much that day. I'm not preparing myself at all for effective golf.
And Bob Rotella talks about trying to have 60% of your practice be that kind of like random quote unquote practice or bring the golf course to the range, and then 40% be on your swing, and no more than 40% be on your mechanics or your movement pattern. Um, so when we're talking about structuring practice, we're going to kind of utilize that in terms of within each skill set. So off the tee, approach, around the green, and putting. We're going to spend no more than 40% of our time on our mechanics. And we're going to spend the majority of our time trying to randomize targets, randomize clubs, so on and so forth. Now, how do we structure how like what's important, right? Like if I'm going to the range and I think that my driver's really bad, how much time do I spend on that versus my irons or versus my chipping? The average strokes gain data across every single skill group, and these rank the same at every single skill group. The percentage just changes a little bit. Is approach shots are 37% of scoring, putting is 28% of scoring, off the tee is 20% of scoring, and around the green is 15% of scoring. Now, as this relates to fitting all this into your life, obviously we said we've got a 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute session planned out for everybody. What I found to be really, really helpful for myself is I try to roll putts every single day, at least for like, not that I'm measuring, probably 10 or 15 minutes just in my office here. So I've got some kind of an idea of how to roll a ball straight. So when I do get outside, I can practice, lag putting or whatever it is. So when it comes to these specific sessions, I think there's a few rules we need in place, and then we'll jump in. Number one, never hit the same shot twice in a row. So we're hitting the different target, a different club, different target, different distance. Now this comes to when we're using our random practice. If you're working on mechanics, block practice is based on studies proven to be better. So block practice is going to be more efficient and effective if you're working on a swing change, but also probably go see a PGA professional for that. Go see Brad Smith or Mitch Creamer, or, one of those guys. Number two, every shot needs a specific target. This is block. This is random. This is all the above. Hayden, how often have you gone to the range or gone to the putting green and like kind of just meandered your way through and not had a specific target? I mean, you're a professional golfer. How often would you say that's happened?
Never. There's a stick down all the time.
And I think that's the
There's
thing that
something that
would
I'm going
surprise. Yeah,
towards every single time.
I think that's the thing that would surprise people. Like even for me, like I was expecting a little bit of a like, 5% of the time. Like, no, there's got to be intent. Otherwise, you are wasting your time.
Yeah.
You're playing professional golf. This is your career, and you have a specific target on every single shot. You've got the most time out of any of us, in theory, right, to go practice golf, and you are the most intentional. So that should say something to me. That should say something to everybody else who's listening to this, who's got a job and working a
Yeah.
9 to 5, and golf isn't their job, right? Like you are the most intentional, and you've got the most time. That should say a
Yeah.
lot.
If you
Um,
aim anywhere, you'll hit it everywhere.
Mm. Put that on a pillow, dude. That's phenomenal.
If you aim anywhere, you'll hit it everywhere.
We might have to get a sticker made. That might have to be our next sticker.
I
Um,
that's not credited by me. I heard that once, so.
no, I mean that's fun. Hey, nothing's original, right? Everything's stolen. Number three, full pre-shot routine on every single shot. Let's go back to our Hayden example. How often are we hitting a shot without our pre-shot routine? In your, let's say how often do you think you're practicing every single day? How many hours a day?
How many hours? I mean,
Yep, on average.
break it down. Like how many hours of the range? How many hours
Like
putting?
just
You just
total.
total 3.5 to 4 hours.
So 3.5 to 4 hours a day. How often are you not going through your pre-shot routine?
If I'm doing mechanical movement changes, I'll feel a little bit better to not go through the pre-shot, but outside of that, never.
Yep. Spot on. Yeah, that's so good. These are all things that this is also like a reality check for me because I mean I record a lot of practice sessions now, and I promise you I don't go through my full pre-shot routine on every single shot. Like I just did a test for a upcoming YouTube video on range balls versus not range balls versus grass versus mats. I don't know if I went through my pre-shot routine like more than 3 times in whatever it was, 20 balls.
Shame.
So
Come
yeah, that's
on.
hey, you know
Come
what? I'm
on.
just being honest. I'm admitting. Next thing, track something, a score, a make percentage, a total amount of balls hit within the area that you're trying to hit it, and then write it down. If you it I think that golf's unique in the fact that you can't automatically know if you did something well or not. Like there's no definitive, like if you go lift weights, like there's a number there. The only real way in golf that there's a definitive end to something is putting, where it either goes in or it doesn't. And so we've got to be able to track something, and we'll jump into that here as we talk through these sessions. And finally, we want to end with pressure. We want to end with something with some consequences because the driving range is not designed for pressure. It's designed for volume. And so you've got to be able to put that on yourself, take accountability for that, and that's going to make you significantly better down the line. All right, Hayden, I'm going to toss you the 15-minute home putting session since even though I might be the home putting guru, you're a much better putter than I am. So I'll
So what Isaac and I have really talked about is that the 15-minute home putting session really works. It works very well because it doesn't require a lot of setup. It doesn't require anything other than a putter, some balls, and little things to putt to, coins, tees, tape, little a corner of your room, whatever it is. All you need to do is just putt to the targets in random order. Gives you a little bit of consistency of feel. It gives you the feedback of, am I pulling it? Am I pushing it? Don't really worry about what the speed is. If it's your carpet or if it's hardwood floor, really cool. You can dial that in when you get to the golf course pretty quickly. But we just do that in order to be around putting, be around golf. And what Isaac and I really think is what you should do is track. I'm gonna change that. And then lastly, all you need to do is just track how many stop within one ball length of the target out of nine. So you have three balls, you do three different sets of three. You only have to walk over to your target three different times, but you track it out of nine. Really love Isaac on that number four. You track something. score, make a percentage, you write it down. I'm glad you didn't ask me. I was given the never, I was given the hardo answers on the other. I'm glad you didn't ask me that because I'm not good at doing that. So
Well,
it's accountability here. So that was a speed drill. A make drill, very simple. Set up a gate, two tees, coins with or coins just wider than your ball at 3 feet away, and then make five in a row. Miss one, restart the count. Once you make five, you can move it to 4 feet. Just figure out what's easy for you and then push yourself to do the next level that's a little bit harder. And then pressure finish, really good. Ending with pressure, doing something that gives you consequences is really going to help you translate your practice over to the golf course. This one's really simple as well. You set up four putts at four different distances 3, 5, 7, and 10 feet. And then what you need to do is you must make all four in a single pass. So if you miss any, you start all the way back over from 3 feet. Track how many full passes you complete in 5 minutes. Okay. So the goal is not to groove a stroke, the goal is to handle the pressure and then reset if you miss and then handle how it feels like, oh, I'm to the last couple of balls and I had to reset. I get to those last couple of balls again. I'm there. I've done it before and I can really get better. So 15 minutes, it's putting, it's all in the comfort of your own home, and you don't need a ton of setup to get it all done.
yeah, and these 3 are just straight up ripped from stuff that I do, like, in the morning when I'm watching YouTube videos or listen to a podcast or whatever. These are just things that I really enjoy doing that I have seen help me kinda get in the right mindset in terms of putting. Like I said, keep something in my hands, continue to roll a golf ball. Those are phenomenal. So if you just got 15 minutes, what I'll what I'm gonna do is I'll put all these together in a PDF and put it all down below. Um, the second one is 30-minute range session. So I think this is a common problem is you've got some limited time, you've got some spare time, you wanna make the most of it, so you head to the range and maybe you buy the largest bucket and try to fire through it because it's the most valuable. Like, you've got the most amount of golf balls at the best price, right? This is only gonna be about 40 to 50 balls at most. If your range sells a bucket that's 35 balls, get that one for this, and we'll start there. We're gonna warm up for 3 minutes, hitting some wedge shots, just getting loose, slowly ramping up the speed. I would encourage you to stretch before this. Another thing that I'm terrible at is stretching beforehand, but all we're trying to do is like just get a feel for making contact, getting the body warmed up. We're not really worried about results here. We're worried about getting physically warm and not getting hurt. Then we're going to spend the next 13 minutes on approach shots, hitting 5 different clubs to 5 different targets. So there should be some targets out on your range. If there's not, pick a tree, pick a cloud, pick something out in the distance. We're going to cycle through those. So, for example, I might have a target at 80, 110, 135, 155, and 175. I'm going to hit one shot to each one, cycling through, going through my full pre shot routine, like we talked about, with a very clear target in mind, visualizing how we're trying to shape it in there. And then after each full rotation, we're just going to change the order. So we're gonna try do our best to not hit the same club back to back. Now, if you want to just cycle through them 80 to through 175, 80 through 175, that's also fine. But I find that the more random you can make it, the better. Once again, this should not take more than 13 minutes to hit 15 to 18 balls. And the intent here is to get you ready to pull a shot off correctly the first time. So there's a lot of data to show that the most important physical skill in golf is to be able to control your club face. Like, that's the one skill. I would argue that that one B is being able to do that right the first time because uh, for better or for worse, we don't get a second shot unless it's a mulligan or a penalty. And I don't think we want to be training for mulligans or penalties. Next, we're going to work to off the tee. So we're going to have 5 shots, 7 different balls. Can we do this? Next, we're going to go to off the tee. We're going to simulate a couple different tee shots from your home course. So pick 2 or 3 different fairways downrange, wider or narrower. My favorite way to find this out is to go on Google Maps beforehand and map stuff out. Like, you can kind of see the general area from where you're hitting, and you can map out, okay, this is 50 yards wide, this is 60, this is 70, this is 80, so on and so forth. We're going to pick different fairways downrange that are not aimed in the same direction. We're going to change between them. We're going to change clubs between shots. I'm cool with you hitting a couple drivers in a row as long as we're changing targets because driver's the only one where your lie doesn't change, and really, you don't necessarily need to change shot shape. Very rarely will you need to hit the opposite of your natural shot shape. And even if you do, I mean, good
You
luck. I don't
don't.
know.
You
Like,
don't.
yeah, I really don't.
You don't.
Uh, so let's just really try to simulate that pressure. I think the best way to simulate pressure in this environment is to try to hit a certain number in a row. Now, granted, we've only got 30 minutes. So max yourself out at, let's say, 9 balls and try to get 3 in a row. And then if you do get 3 in a row and you still have a little bit of time, try to do it again. Continue to add pressure or try to get to 5 in a row. But this is a good way to really simulate the pressure of limited tee shots as well, because in a normal round of golf, you're probably only going to hit 10 to 12 drivers at max. And so if we're only hitting 7 to 9 in practice, that even puts a little bit more pressure on us. Before I get to the last part of this, Hayden, you got anything to add?
I would say 2 things. 1, the best golfers in the world cannot rake a ball from the bucket and be properly lined up to where they wanna line up. You need to step behind the ball and walk into your shot. And again, that's gonna go into what your routine is, okay? Every routine is gonna be unique and geared towards you, but it has to start behind the ball. I really think the golfers who take a practice swing, um, beside the ball and then walk, take the one step forward, walk into it. I really think they're at a disadvantage because you can't accurately line up to the correct target if you do that. Everything's got to happen from behind the ball. That's the first thing. The second thing is just how you said for the off the tee practice. If you want to simulate shots from your home course, if you're struggling to figure out what numbers to do with approach play, just choose the par threes at your home course too. If some of them are similar numbers, and you're like, okay, well, 3 of my par threes are between 160 and 170, then just do the normal approach shots that you typically have. But in order to play your best, you just want to do what happens on the golf course. So if you're playing the same course every time, just practice for that course.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's good stuff there. Well, finally, speaking of hitting some of the same shots, wedge distance control. We're going to pick 4 different partial wedge distances, or even just 4 wedge distances and then change clubs. I know for me, when I do, there's a combine on GC Quad I've been doing some that goes from 30 to 100 yards. And I change over to my 56. I've been messing around with it a little bit of when I change over to my 56 because I can get a 60 all the way out to 100, but it's not good. Like I'm swinging hard. So I've been messing around with like what's the shortest distance I can hit my 56 comfortably, and it's a better result than if I was to just use 60. This is a good time to practice that. So if we were to use 4 different distances, just because we've only got 7 minutes for this, 30, 50, 70, 90, for example, you can change that based on if you have targets on your range or whatever your game looks like. But let's rotate, let's pick specific targets, let's go through our full pre-shot routine. If you can kind of gather how close it's landing, within 20 feet is when you start to have a really good look at birdie. Now, it's hard to hit a ball within 20 feet, but if you want some kind of definitive target, I'd say within 20 feet for somebody who's maybe better than a 10 handicap. And then outside of that, let's shoot for within 45 or 60 feet, which is going to be more on the green. And then you can adjust this as you get better too, which is one of the things that I actually am loving about using the app is it's continuing to adjust my targets and my goals based on how I'm practicing, which has been a lot of fun. Finally, this harkens all the way back to the original post for Play Ready Golf, which is the 59-minute practice plan. This is our bread and butter here. I mean, just 1 hour. How can you make the most of it based on strokes gained? You want to start us off, Hayden?
Yeah. 1 hour. Awesome. All we want to do is warm up at the very beginning. If you're working a 9 to 5, you probably haven't been moving all that much that day. Just get your body loose. Use the first couple swings to not care where the ball goes. Get loose. Focus on full range of motion, solid contact. Super simple.
So we've got 4 minutes of a warm up. I've got like a band that I keep in my bag to warm up with. You'll start to figure out the most efficient way for you to get warm. Yeah, I think warm up is a severely underrated part of this whole process from a physical standpoint because I know for myself, like my lats and my hips have gotten significantly more tight since college.
It's such a sad feeling. feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sitting here like my hips feel tight already. Like yeah, it's tough scene. Good, yeah, it gets you a good chair. I think that's
yeah,
the key. But once we've warmed up, we're gonna move into some baseline irons. So this is that block work that we talked about, where we're maybe working on our swing or we're working on setup. Setup is so important. That's one thing I did not put in the 15-minute putting section. But if you've got some kind of mirror or something at home that you can work on your putting setup, when we get outside, having alignment sticks that we can work with, or go get the driveway sticks that are at Home Depot that are like 20 cents or whatever. Like, have something to give you a baseline, because if we don't have a baseline, we're going to have no clue what it's going to look like on the golf course. And one of the things that I can promise you, if I was to post this as a clip on Instagram, would be somebody would say, "Oh, I'm not good enough to need alignment sticks or whatever." It's like saying you're not good enough at driving to need a steering wheel. It's like, well, I don't know if that's really, this isn't, this is a different conversation that we're trying to have. Like, if you want to get better at golf, you've got to do the simple things well.
yeah,
Like, you don't think, you think Scotty Scheffler doesn't sit there and go, "I'm too good for a training grip"?
yeah,
No, he
yeah,
understands the importance of PGAT,
yeah.
posture, grip, alignment, tempo.
Yeah, I
So,
think the analogy I would do, I think I would say without a windshield. I think you could
mm,
drive without a windshield, but it just wouldn't be fun. Like, it just wouldn't work. You
reminds
get
me of the
bugs flying in
opposite.
your
Yeah,
face.
it's like the
Like,
episode of The Middle when they're using Saran wrap. I don't know
yeah,
if you've
it's
ever
just
seen.
like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Just do the simple things. Like, everyone's got a windshield. Like, everyone's got something that you throw a club down.
Yep.
Like, you can use whatever you want to align yourself. Just, like,
Yep.
don't be Mr. Ego and just do it.
Create a baseline. So, and then we're gonna move into random irons. So we're moving from that block to the random. Similar to the last section, we're gonna rotate through different iron shots, different targets, different height, different shot shapes. We're just not trying to hit a stock shot, and we're not trying not to hit to the same target 2 times in a row. This is one of those things where you can throw in ChatGPT, like, "Give me 18 random numbers," and you're just gonna go through those random numbers. Or if you, like you were pointing out, you can cycle through your par 3 distances, or if you've got 6 different targets on the range, that's super simple, hit to the 6 different targets on the range. Um, so that's the random irons. This is where you're gonna be able to improve the most. It's not the sexiest point of golf is iron play, but it is an absolute requirement if you wanna get better. Like, it's really hard to get noticeably better at putting because putting is really hard. It is absolutely very possible to get noticeably better at iron play. Um, I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, the difference between a 10 handicap makes 52% of their 6 footers, and a PGA Tour player makes 50% of their 8 footers. Like, that's not that big of a difference in terms of distance. Like, the PGA Tour players are obviously miles better than the 10 handicap, but the difference is not as much as the iron difference. Like, a PGA Tour player from 100 yards is going to be like 45 feet closer than a 10 handicap. That's a big difference. Making one extra 8 footer is helpful, but hitting it 45 feet closer on average is going to be significantly more helpful. I'll put that stats guide down below too. I'm just kind of pulling stuff out of the top of my head from remembering. All right, what's next?
T-ball. All we want to do is rotate between two tee clubs that we typically hit: driver, 3 wood, maybe a driver hybrid or 5 wood, and you create that fairway. You figure out what lengthwise is a typical fairway for your course, and you just hit your stock shots. You don't try to overcorrect on your fade and try to hit a draw. You just hit what you do with the curve, the typical height, and you basically try to bring the golf course to the range. And that's what we're doing. We do it for 10 minutes. We do it with, you could do with 10 balls, so 5 with each. It's just going to help simulate and help you get in the right space for the next time you go out and go play.
One thing that I'll add here with two things. Number one, if you can add some pressure, try to hit a certain amount in there. Like, pull 10 balls. I'm trying to hit 6 of them in my fairway. And if I don't, I don't. I just write down that I got 4 out of 10. And then I come back next week and I try to do better than I did the previous week. The second thing I'll add is it's really easy to try to swing out of your shoes on the driving range. Try to prove that you can hit it further than everybody else. Newsflash, you can't. None of us can. I mean, there's guys who are hitting it. The world record was just set for, was that club
I,
head speed or ball speed?
unbelievable.
I think it was
It's
ball speed.
crazy.
It was obscene. Um, So, like, none of us are winning the long drive contest.
No.
So focus on like solid contact and going. Swing confidently, but keep your shoes on. So then we're gonna move over to putting for 10 minutes. Setup station, focus on alignment. Spending a few minutes there. Once we've completed that a few times, then we're gonna move to random 30 plus foot putts and putting those out. If you want to make that drill a little bit harder, you can pull back that second putt with your putter, a putter length, so 3 feet. That's going to be just 10 minutes of effectively, can I roll the ball straight and is my setup good? And then can I lag putt? Finally, we're going to use a little bit of combo of chipping and putting, 18 holes of random up and downs from random spots. Throw it in crappy spots. Don't fluff the ball. Don't fluff the ball. It's not like that. It's not going to help you. There's no if you're going to fluff the ball, just don't do this drill. I'm gonna like skip it. Go load up on Snickers and head to the first tee. Like let's just get that out of the way. 18 holes of
Yeah.
up and down, par can be 36. And your goal, once again, is to continue improving week over week. So I'd say once you've done this drill 2 or 3 times, you'll have a general idea of what your baseline is. And from there, you can start to identify what are my problem shots? What are the shots I really
Yeah.
struggle with? Is it the two
Yeah.
bunker shots that I'm hitting? Is it the really simple ones where maybe I'm trying to do too much? Is it I'm missing 5 footers? Is it or too many 5 footers? So I think that's a good structure for that 59 minutes. Once again, you can find all this down below.
Yeah. I think when it comes to putting and chipping, I am performing my best when I have as much reps as possible. And both of those drills give you lots of reps and lots of ability to see different putts and see different lies. The best chippers read lies and react to lies the best way. And so, yes, do not fluff. And when you do the putting, just pick different holes and just go back and forth. And if somebody's going to one hole that you haven't been to in a while, like wait for them for a minute or two to leave that hole. Like just hit tons of different putts. Don't hit the same putt because when you go out on the golf course, you're going to be hopefully going to new pins that you might not have done before. And so you just get the newness of a brand new putt for that first time.
And once again, go through your full routine. If your routine is different on the course than it is when you're practicing, one of the two is useless. Like pick one of them. Because if your practice or even what you do on the course doesn't reflect what you're doing in the other spot, it's not going to be as effective. And it's not that it's going to take more time. It just takes a little bit more mental energy, but it's absolutely worth it for the payoff of understanding your tendencies under pressure if you're just keeping all the variables the same. I think Hayden, I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is our most practical and useful episode that you and I have done together so far. Obviously, those interviews have been unbelievably useful, but outside of those, I think this is probably our best work.
Well,
I
I'll tell you
just
why. I'll tell you why. Because everything that we're talking about, it's so simple. A 15-year-old, a high school golfer, a middle school golfer could understand this. But my question to you would be, why don't people practice like this? When I go to the range, a public golf course, people aren't doing these things.
I'd say two reasons. One, it takes a little bit more. Like, it takes mental effort, whereas the driving range feels like physical effort is enough. So because it takes some mental effort, and it's not a ton, it's not natural, right? Oh, I'm going to do this thing physically. And normally, when you go do a physical task, that's enough. When you go mow the lawn, you don't have to think much. It's physically done. When you go lift weights, it's physically done. Maybe you did a little bit of, maybe you used a program or whatever, but when you go physically do it, it's done. When you go to the range, you have to set the parameters. You have to set up your own schedule so that you're getting the most out of it. And that requires a little bit of intent. And I think that's the second big reason is nobody's really ever shown them the way. I mean, like I alluded to earlier, I'm doing a working on a YouTube video on driving ranges and how to get the most out of them. And I'm curious what you think here. How much do you think the driving range model, the business model, has changed since the first driving range opened in Pinehurst in 1913?
Man, there's no way it's changed much, has it?
The only thing that's changed is there's lights, there's automatic ball dispensers, and there's mats. That's
Yeah.
it. No, nothing else has changed. We have all this science now to understand the difference between block and random, and the driving range is set up to make money, and that's fine. Like it's a business, it's a for-profit business. These public driving ranges are. They're not all designed like TPC Sawgrass, and you can even go out to TPC Sawgrass or go out to Augusta and practice like crap. Ultimately, it's a big old field with golf balls, and you get to decide what you use those golf balls for. So that's kind of the whole reason we wanted to do this episode, was so that you could get a good understanding of how to use these kind of limited time slots. I think 15 minutes at home is very reasonable. 30 minutes at a driving range is very reasonable. An hour before a round of golf is very reasonable. And so if you can just structure your time around these percentages and around these plans and adjust them to your skill level, you are going to be so far ahead of your friends. Like, you are never going to have to buy drinks after a round ever again. Like, you will not be the laughing stock of the group. You are going to get so much better this summer. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, all great stuff. I feel like the misconception with the range is that you go to the range and you work on your swing. You go to the
Mhm.
putting green and you work on your stroke. You go to the chipping green and you work on chipping. But I don't think anyone's talking about you go to the range to practice for the golf course, not work on your swing. And that's really what we're breaking down, right?
Yeah, I think there's this idea, especially on Instagram, where golf is kind of played through your camera app. But ultimately, all that matters is the scorecard at the end of the day, not how pretty your swing is or how many reps you did. The quality of the reps matters, and then ultimately what affects scoring the most. And like we mentioned, the Clarity Golf app is out now. It takes all your stats, it takes the amount of time that you have and the facilities you have access to, and builds plans customized to you, no matter how much time you have.
Look, if your time is that limited and you just got 15 minutes, bring your putter in the house, grab a ball or two, put some pressure on yourself. You know what? I'll get to have the ice cream tonight if I putt this through the gate 3 times in a row. I'll
Yes.
get to do whatever motivates you. Seriously, whatever motivates you, have the discipline to make it your prize, your reward, and you're going to see the benefits on the golf course. And absolutely, your friends, they might not be your friends much longer.
I'll tell you what my reward's gonna be. It's gonna be a nice cold Reese egg, because that is the best form of Reese. If you made it to this point in the episode, you might as well comment down below what your favorite form of Reese is, because it's definitely the egg.
No comment. No comment.
Oh man. Well, thanks again for listening, everybody. I don't. This is episode what? We're doing a bonus episode. So if you like the bonus episode format, also let us know. I'm doing a lot of calls to action today, because if you made it to this point, which I think only like 5% of people do, thank you. We will see you guys next week. Actually, I'll see you this Friday. We've got a sick interview coming this Friday. If you got any questions on the app, let us know. Hayden, I will be talking to you soon, my man.
Peace.